What's up, strongest men, women, and children from blocks all around the world? I am my block's strongest man, and this evening I have a special guest for you, strongman Albert Brand.
Ciao, homie.
Welcome back to My Block's Strongest Man, where we bring strongman into the mainstream by discussing all of the latest strongman events in the greatest analytic detail that you'll find anywhere on YouTube. If you haven't done so yet, subscribe to this channel. Make sure to comment below whether you agree or disagree with my videos. I love the engagement, and I respond to every single comment. Now on to today's topic. So, kind of going back to Christina's show, Savage Strength, have you had a look at what the events are yet, and how well do you think they suit your strengths?
I have. I think they do really well. I mean, one of my strengths is, I love, well, it's one of my favorite too. I love stones, right? Or just lifting anything over a platform or a yoke or onto a platform. So I know she has a max keg over bar, which is, that's what I'm excited about, to see what I can put. So we recently got one of those Titan kegs, which didn't know it at the time, but those things are freaking massive. I mean, they're like 2 feet around, like they're twice as big as any normal keg. It really is, like giant. Like I can't even fit my arms like around the thing. And so I've been training with that some, and I'm excited to see what I can. I haven't maxed it out yet, but I'm excited to see what I can put over a keg, put over a yoke with a keg.
Okay, so like, what are the weight classes she has? Like, where would you fall? Heavyweight, super heavyweight?
Definitely. So yeah, I'm always super heavyweight. I have right now I'm sitting at about 350 pounds. So
okay.
I'm about 6'3", 350 currently. So yeah, I'm always one of the big boys.
All right, so super heavy has no limit, I assume.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
and that's what I like. That means I can eat whatever I want and still compete. I don't have to worry about cutting weight. It's amazing.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you your thoughts about weight classes with limit. Like, let's say heavyweight is 300, let's say. Like, what are your thoughts about getting as close to the top of that limit to maximize strength, but you not having to go through that? Maybe be a relevant question.
Yeah, fortunately, I don't have to go through that. Don't have to weigh in. Surprisingly, before, when I was in college, when I was doing some Olympic lifting, I was weighed in about 230. So then I had to go through a little bit of that. Had to get under 230 and weigh in, which back then wasn't too hard to do. But yeah, weighing in, and I remember even high school weightlifting meets and things like that. I remember carrying around like a bottle all day, spitting into it, trying to lose those extra couple pounds before I went to weigh in. And man, that was just a horrific experience. So I like being a big guy. That way I can eat whatever I want, drink, and right up into that competition, not have to worry about dropping any weight.
Yeah, I wrestled a little bit in high school, so I remember all that spitting stuff.
Yeah. You get a Jolly Rancher or something, and then you just spend all day spitting. It's the grossest thing ever. Like, looking back on it, I'm like, why did I ever do that?
Yeah, or you get to the competition, you just run around the gym until you have to wrestle, like try to drop a little bit of weight.
And then you're like tired. Yeah. Wear a trash bag.
Oh, the trash bag's the worst.
Yeah, it's so hot.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you your favorite event, but you touched on that already. Stones. Any kind of stones? Atlas? Do you like natural stone as well?
So yeah, Atlas stones, natural stones. I haven't had too much experience with natural stones. Now, before I left Indiana, at Unbreakable Athletics Academy, they had gotten a set of 4 natural stones. And they were ranging, I think the lightest one's like 240, then like 280 and 324. I remember during one of their competitions, we had to shoulder the 324. That was fun, being able to shoulder that. And then they got this new stone in, and they didn't name it. And they said, hey, listen, the first person to lift it gets to name the stone. And I'm like, and this was during COVID too. So I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, that's on. So, actually went, was able to, and that one weighed in at 408. So it was a big one. I was able to go in, lift it, put it on my chest. It was pretty cool. So there's another guy that lifted it right after me. So we we shared the name. It's the BT stone for like our last name's Brand Tensman. So it was kind of cool to get a stone named after me, a natural stone, for being the first one to lift it.
That is really cool. So where does this stone sit right now? Where is it?
So that is in Plainfield, Indiana. And yeah, if any of your listeners are in the area, I mean, they're called the Hoosier Stones. So they're the Hoosier Stones. It's pretty cool. Jim Beebe, he runs that gym there. You lift one of the stones, you get it to your chest or shoulder or press it. You actually get your name in the book, and he'll give you a shot of whiskey too for getting it up. So
it's kind of like a similar situation like the Denny Stones. If you can raise them, you get your name in the book. So yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, you get it, get your name in the book, and they're really cool books too. They're like bound and like they just look really cool. So they're the Hoosier Stones. If anybody's in that area, it's cool. I love driving places and lifting stones up. So it's just, I don't know, it's kind of fun. It's like a manly thing to do, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the only strongman thing I do. Like we needed a retaining wall one day. I'm looking around my property. I see a bunch of stones over there that need to be over there. And like I said, I find this stuff fun. I'm nowhere near your level, of course, but anybody else would grab a wheelbarrow. I'm like, no, they're like, pick up the rocks and run with them. It's fun, So I don't know. They're maybe 100 pounds at the most, but for a guy my size, that's fine. Pick them up. It was maybe 30 stones. I built my retaining wall and, I've got a good workout out of it.
I was at a networking event the other day, and somebody asked me like, what do you do for fun, or what's your hobby? I'm like, well, I'm not really sure if you can call it what I do for fun. It's more of like what I do for punishment. But I was like, I compete in strongman and put my body through hell lifting up heavy things. I'm not, like I said, I'm not sure if you can call it fun, but it's something.
Yeah,
it is.
For sure. Yeah, it's funny because I was talking to Matt McDougall the other day about natural stones, and my question for him was, if you want a natural stone kind of like in the ballpark of a particular weight, how do you obtain this? And like he told me, I literally go in the forest and pick one out. And and I said, hey, wait, that's what I would do. I thought you had a better plan than that. But then he talked about maybe going to a quarry or whatever, but he's never done that. Like how would you find a natural stone if you needed to?
I know there's, a lot of landscaping companies have them. So if you have a local landscaping company, typically you can go and say, hey, I'm looking for just a giant stone, and they typically have them. Or if you have access to areas that have a bunch of stones, you can go pick one that's, find one that's heavy enough to where you can barely pick it up, and then take that and keep working on it, and just keep lifting it and, get better and better at it. That's probably the best way to do it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So I got to pick your brain on lifting a little bit, and this is probably going to differ with different exercises, but when you train, how do you decide on the correct warm-up time and time between sets? Like, as someone who doesn't work out that often, I have trouble with deciding these things.
Yeah, for me, and I think it's different for everybody. For me, when I'm warming up, my goal is to be breaking a sweat. I know there's some guys that go into the gym, they just go for it, right? They'll do some band work or some little things, and then just start lifting, which if that works for them, it works for them. For me, I mean, I need to be breaking a sweat. I need to actually be warming up my body, right? And warming up my muscles to do those lifts. So it's a lot of stretching, a lot of band work. And then in between sets, it really depends on what I'm doing. If I'm doing lighter weights and the purpose is to kind of have a little bit of a cardio aspect to it, there'll definitely be shorter rest in between sets. If I'm going heavy to where the purpose is, hey, I want to push my body a little bit, I want to see how heavy I can go, maybe if I'm not maxing, but doing some heavy singles or doubles, or even if I am maxing out, I mean, the goal is to take that rest in order for your body to recover. So it's usually, in that instance, I mean, I'm giving a good, 3 to 4 minute rest in between sets, while I'm with you, which, that's also one of the benefits of having a great coach like Christina is in my program. She'll put, hey, rest for 3 minutes. Hey, get off your ass and let's go. Rest for shorter times, right? Don't take it too long. So it's really cool, having to pull from her knowledge too. And, her telling me, hey, we're going heavy. So, make sure you're taking a lot of rest, or, hey, this is supposed to be, more cardio. So, rest for 30 seconds in between sets.
Yeah, and let's say you're working up to a deadlift max. Like, how many sets is that? Are you starting off with like 1 plate, then 2 plates, then 3, or are you starting closer to your max than that?
No, I'm definitely starting light. I'll always, kind of just kind of go up, right? So I'll start with a plate, put another plate, and I'll keep putting plates on until we get to heavy. And then, I'll put 25, just keep going, starting to inch up there. If we're getting to a max, there's going to be quite a bit of sets, warm-up sets in there, especially you're going to the max load because, some people can go and just rip right off the floor and get a good lift, but my body doesn't work that way. It needs to really feel that weight and slowly get up to it. And I noticed that helps me, hit those higher numbers as well as I'm slowly, kind of working up towards it.
All right. Now I'm going to try these tips and let you know how it goes.
There you go.
Nice. So what would you say are kind of your short-term goals in the sport and then some longer-term goals in the sport?
Yeah, so definitely short-term. This year, I got a competition coming up this weekend. Do well there at Winter Assault. It's in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Christina's show in May, Savage. Do well at that. And then also at the back in August, I placed second in the Rochester Strength Challenge. So I qualified for the United States Strongman Nationals that are going to be in June. And fortunately for me, they're going to be in Minneapolis. So it's a pretty quick drive. It's only like an hour away from where I live. So those are kind of short term. Definitely long term is to keep competing. I want to go back to OSG, probably not this year, but the following. And then here within the next 2 to 3 years, be able to place high enough at one of these, whether it's Strongman Corporation or USS, in order to get my pro card.
Okay. And what is that, just first place at USS or first couple?
Yeah, so it depends. So I think it's first, second, and third at USS, as well as for top 3. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong on that, but
nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Good plans, good goals.
Yeah, we'll see. Eventually, too, I think it'd be really fun to find some international competition as well down the road. Do a little bit of traveling and get to compete a little bit. Yeah,
absolutely. That would be awesome. So what would you say you like best about the sport? Your favorite thing?
Favorite thing about the sport, it would have to be the people. When I first got into it, I signed up for my first show not knowing anybody that does strongman. I just said, hey, I kind of got back into CrossFit and realized, hey, I'm still pretty strong and I don't want to do CrossFit. So let's sign up for a strongman show. And, going to that show, not knowing anybody, just meeting people, the level of respect that the athletes have for each other, just the camaraderie of it all. It's probably the best thing about this sport, being able to, talk to somebody like Jessica or Christina and they help you work out with you, give you tips and pointers to, being at OSG, right before I was about to go through the deadlift event, I was standing next to Eddie Hall. I said, Eddie, you have any advice? And, he talked to me for a minute about, some advice for deadlifts. On all levels of sport, it's awesome to see, we all root for each other, right? Whether you're just starting out and you're a novice or you're a pro, everybody's rooting for each other. And it's just, it becomes like a great bond.
Yeah, I think that kind of shines through the screen, even from a fan's perspective. Every strongman, strongwoman I've spoken with has answered in that same manner, right? Yeah. And I have like a buddy who I collab with sometimes. His channel is Hunger Smash Fitness, if you ever want to check him out. And he does some amateur strongman as well. And he said the same thing. He used to do powerlifting, and he said powerlifters don't talk to each other. Their heads are down, their headphones are in. They don't want to hear from you. And he started Strongman, and he's like, we're on the sideline sharing food, laughing. It's just a great time. You root for each other, even if you're competing. It's just a totally different type of community. And that really shines through, even from my perspective, right? Like I started my channel in 2020, and, I reach out to Jessica. She answers me. I reach out to Christina. She answers me. Like that would never happen in another sport. I have Donna Moore coming on later this week. Like, the top people in the sport, not Eddie yet, but the top people in the sport answer me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But,
it's incredible. I mean, talk about just, when you said just sitting on the sidelines sharing food, you should, it reminds me of a picture. It was at Rochester Strength Challenge back in August of 2020. I'm sitting there on the sideline. I got a towel over my head, like just devouring a chicken leg or a turkey leg, like in between events. And everybody's like, how can you eat that right now? I'm like, I'm hungry, man. I haven't eaten in a couple hours. I'm eating this whole giant turkey leg, like between two events. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, that is funny. So, I mean, growing up, did you watch World's Strongest Man? Did you have a favorite that you rooted for?
So growing up, I really didn't. I mean, I'd see it every now and then on like the late night ESPNs and stuff like that, but I really didn't know what strongman was until I got a little older. And, I wish I would have watched it back then, but I was, I wasn't much. It was into my later kind of early, late teens, early 20s that I kind of started watching. I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool. I met a guy, I was living in Texas, met a guy that had some stones in his gym, and he's like, hey, do you want to lift these? I'm like, sure, that looks like fun. What's this? He's like, it's an Atlas stone. I'm like, sure, let me see if I can lift it. I think it was like 280 pounds, and I'd never lifted a stone before. I'm like, yeah, sure, let me try it. I tried it. I was able to do it like twice. Felt really cool. And I'm like, hey, this is cool. What is this? He's like, it's strongman. I'm like, all right, that's cool. Let's do more of that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I watched it a bunch growing up. I would say Magnus Samuelsson, probably my favorite growing up. Yeah, just kind of like bringing the arm wrestling aspect in. Columbo was cool.
Yeah.
Pujanowski afterward. I like Phil Pfister. A lot of them were really amazing to watch. I was actually watching like 1977, 78 on YouTube recently, and it's amazing some of the events they made them do, like throw the tire.
Yeah, those are awesome. Yeah, they need to bring back some of those. Some of those events were just cool. The sumo wrestling, let's see some of them sumo wrestle. I'd like to see that at the competition. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, they keep saying how like Kaz's opponents just ran out of the ring because they were afraid to sumo wrestle him.
Yeah.
Oh man. So, what would you say would be your advice for somebody wanting to get into strongman?
Just do it. I mean, there's a million reasons not to do it. Just do it. I mean, a lot of people I've talked to that say, hey, I've been thinking about doing my first show. I've been thinking about competing. I'm like, well, when are you going to do it? Well, I don't know. I'm not ready yet. I haven't trained enough. And, you're never going to be ready, right? You're never going to be 100% ready, and you're never going to do it unless you sign up for a show, right? Find a show that has events that look cool to you that you want to do, and just do it, right? Because you're going to have that community, right? You might not know what the hell you're doing, but that's okay. You're going to have people there that can help you train the best you can for it. And like I said, if I wouldn't have signed up for that first show and done that, I never would have met Jessica. I never would have met Christina. I never would have met this whole like network of people that helped me get better and helped me. My second show ever was since I won that first show as a novice. So the rule is you win a novice show, you can't compete as a novice anymore. So I went into heavyweight open, which I was like, man, these weights are crazy. I'm never going to be able to do this. But because I did that show, met these people, they helped me train, I was able to go through and win that show. So my advice is just to do it. Pick a show, get a coach if you want, or just, figure out what you need to do to train for that show and just do it and have fun.
It's good advice. Did you happen to catch any of Mammoth Strength Challenge 5 this year, not a few weeks ago?
Yeah, I was able to catch some of it. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, because you just reminded me, and what you were saying there with your advice is Katie Rogers had the same situation. She was her first show ever. I think she had only picked up implements 3 weeks before. She was 6 months out of breaking her leg, and then wins novice, and now she can't compete novice anymore.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean that's how it is. I mean, you're gonna meet people there. I mean, I still keep in touch with some of the guys I met at that first competition 2 years ago, and I still compete against a lot of them. We lean on each other for advice, and we travel to train with each other every now and then. So, I mean, that's just do it, right? There's no reason not to. If the weights are too heavy, I mean, if you zero on an event, it's not the end of the world, right? You're not competing in this sport to make $1 million, right? You're competing in this sport because it's fun, you love it, and you want to make yourself better, and you want to push yourself. And it's okay if something's very heavy or too heavy, you'll get there, right?
Yep. You just consider it extra training for next time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've done that before. I've done a competition. I've dropped in on like a last minute competition. Like, hey, I'm just going to do this just to, why not see where I'm at, right? And they go pretty well or they don't, and that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, kind of speaking of that, some advice for me. What I've never picked up an AWESEOME before. What if I wanted to try it? What would be kind of your advice on how to approach that and then improve a little bit over time?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, start with smaller stones, right? Start with lighter, see how it feels, and slowly work your way up. Definitely don't jump into a super crazy heavy stone and pull something in your back, right? But yeah, work on with smaller stones. Work on your hip and ankle mobility. I've learned that a lot of people, especially big guys, right? They can't go into like a full squat, and sometimes that's hard if their mobility is not there to reach down and bend down and pick up that stone. So luckily, with my Olympic lifting background, my hip and my ankle mobility is pretty good, where I can sit down really low to pick it up. So definitely working on mobility helps a lot with that as well.
Okay, cool. Great advice. So, what would you say are your favorite hobbies outside of strength training? Are there anything you enjoy doing?
So I really like making things. So, I mean, I'm not great at it by any means, but like some small woodworking and things like that. So, I've made some cabinets, some baby gates, things like that. Nothing crazy, but, making things has always been really fun.
Nice. Yeah. It's funny, like these stories you're telling remind me of my own stuff. So not to kind of take over, but I built a swing set. Yeah, I built a swing set for my kids in the backyard. And another kind of like what I would consider strongman philosophy. I get the instructions and it says, for these steps, which is like 80% of the steps, you need 3 guys. And I'm like, 3 or less means just me. I'm like,
right?
any instructions that says more than 3, I'll call a friend. But 3 or less, I'm holding it all myself and putting it together. So that's what I did.
There you go. I'm the same way.
Yeah. Yeah. So
and then I probably another hobby of mine, which it's not really my hobby, but I really enjoy being with my girls when they're doing jiu-jitsu. I mean, I think it's just awesome. It's awesome. It makes you it's really proud dad moment, right? To see your daughters, compete and beat the crap out of other people. So it's
how old are they?
So 5 and 8, so they're pretty young.
Okay.
So it's fun to see them. My 8-year-old, she's gotten to the point where if I'm not careful and I'm not watching, she can come behind me and choke me out in 2 seconds.
My goodness.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's something. No, I'm asking because my daughter's 4 and we're thinking about getting her into martial arts soon.
Well, it's we got her into it, so when she was 5, she was a very sore loser. She'd cry when she lost and just, she didn't take losing very well. So me and my wife were like, hey, we're going to put you in a sport where you lose a lot and you get kind of, roughed up a little bit. So you have to learn to kind of be tough, get used to losing and things like that. And it worked, and she did, and she ended up loving it. And, she's the type to where, she'll go as hard as she can and, put her all into it, which is awesome to see.
Nice. All right, cool. Well, I mean, I've really enjoyed our time together. We talked about a lot of really interesting stuff. What I like to do to wrap up my interviews is just give you an opportunity to promote anything you'd like. I don't know if you have any sponsorships or anything, or any affiliations, anything you'd like to promote, how people can follow you and just whatever you like.
Yeah, definitely. Feel free to look me up on Instagram, brand_strength. So brand strength on Instagram. And really the main, don't have any sponsorships or anything right now. But the main thing is Kratos Strength Equipment. You can find them on Instagram at Kratos Strength Equipment. I mean, Andrew, he's the owner of it. I mean, they're really starting to, make some pretty cool stuff. And, now at a time where it's kind of hard to find some strength equipment, right? Because everybody's selling out of it. Everybody's building these garage gyms and you can't find much. I mean, they got axle bars, Atlas stones. I mean, some of the stuff that they're, looking to design and create is pretty cool. So I check them out.
Yeah, I'll check them out for sure. Maybe we grow together. I'll use my big mouth to get some word out about him.
There you go. Nice. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. Veteran-owned company, so he's a cool guy.
Awesome. All right. Well, Albert, thanks again for jumping on here tonight. Maybe we get together after your next comp and talk some more. What do you think?
There we go. Sounds good. I appreciate it.
Awesome, man. Well, have a good night.
All right, take it easy.
Thanks. So if you like this video and haven't done so yet, please consider subscribing using that button right there. And also stay tuned for some other videos that you might love blooping up right there. This one is the one that YouTube thinks that you will like the best, and this one is the one that I think you will like the best. As always, share this with everyone, and until next time, ciao, homie.